Entrepreneur 18, Session 1, Exploring Entrepreneurship.
In the era of unemployment and no job security, startup and entrepreneurship are setting up a new benchmark among the young generation. What do you need for a startup? Three simple things. Know your product better than anyone, know your customer, and have a burning desire to succeed.
Any kid starting college wants new shoes. Mr. Narvekar, founder of the India Network, wanted the same. With a professional degree from IIM Calcutta and with an enormous experience, he will gleefully share with you all the hollowed rules which he followed and to write a new chapter in Indian e-commerce.
Launching a cable advertising company, a music channel, dabble in real estate, building e-commerce portals, and then becoming the CEO of NDTV. He then began his own venture, the India Network. The India Network wants to be a community to connect mentors with to connect startups with relevant mentors and connect them to technology.
For Mr. Rahul, the India Network is a way for him to do his bit towards transforming the lives of million startup dreamers like him in small towns. So now I would like to request Mr. R.S. Acharya sir, Professor R.S. Acharya sir, Chief Mentor in Entrepreneurship Development Cell, BIIT, to come on stage and felicitate Mr. Rahul Narvekar, founder of the India Network.
This is not as polished as the two people who were standing here. And I am not here to give any gyan. I genuinely believe that YouTube पे better ज्ञान मिलता है. Is this audible? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to basically talk about my journey in life, and I hope it makes sense for some of you. So my name is Rahul Narvekar. One is, of course, I'm a little elder to most of you here. But the reason this date is also significant is I am what is called a 7-month premature baby. So as my mom says, I've always been in a hurry. But before I was born, my mom had a miscarriage and she's very thin. So when I came into this world, the chances of me surviving for the first 24 hours were very, very slim. And Dr. Bhatia, who delivered me, used to call me Pehelwaan. But the joke is I was a very, abhi to theek hu, Delhi reh ke, but otherwise I was a very single, pushy, thin kid. And he would call me Pehelwaan because when I came into this world, first 24 hours, about 4-5 times, I was supposed to die. But every time the doctors would give up on me and then move away, I would like come back and say, okay, hey guys, I'm back. So, that's why. But the real reason this date is significant is technically, all the tayari was done for me to be born on 2nd of October, 1972. But I realized it's a dry day. So ek din pehle aa gaya. And as I love to tell all my investors that see, even before I was born, I had so much foresight and I could plan my own birth, right? So my dad, Rahul Narvekar, was born and brought up in an orphanage in Bombay, in a place called Mankur. He has no idea who his family is. And with his best friend, when he became a teenager, as was the trend in those days, he was asked to leave the orphanage. So he got out, started walking. And in Bombay and in India in those days, in 70s, most factory ke bahar na people used to stand and say, workers, come join. So without any planning, anything, he just, first factory, got a job. This company was a company called Oriental Rubber Industries, which was the largest tire manufacturer in that time in Asia, in a place called Bhandup in Bombay. Got a job with his best friend, got a room in a chawl. So I don't know how many of you know what a chawl is. And my maternal father, my mom's father, was a Punjabi gentleman called Rudram Thakur. 6 feet 4 inches, hardcore Punjabi, short-tempered guy. Till the day he died, kabhi ghas foos nahi khai, no vegetarian food ever. 1 full khamba of whiskey every night. And as a young teenager, had some fight in his home in Punjab, so ghar chhod ke ran away. Landed up in Hyderabad of all places. Started working as a laborer in a cement factory. And in 1 year was the contractor who was driving the entire labor force. He again was supposed to be a very shocking kind of a guy. So with 1 wife and 2 daughters, fell in love with a local South Indian lady. So did a second marriage and got ostracized at that time from Hyderabad. So had to leave in a hurry. Landed in a place called Bhiwandi on the outskirts of Bombay. lived under a jamun tree for 4 days, and then set up his own construction business. And when he died, he had apparently built half of Bhiwandi. There's a temple in his name in Bhiwandi. My wife is only worried about one fact, that she says, I see a lot of his traits in you. She's only worried about a second marriage, but baki sab kuch theek hai. The other difference, of course, is my grandfather used to always drink whiskey and I only do old monk. So, my favorite saying to my friends is, it's old and it's a monk, right? So you should give it respect. So I came into this world in this chawl called Malti Kakade Rivas, room number 25, in a place called Village Road, Bhandu. When I was growing up, we were the richest family in the chawl, because my dad, who would work as in the factory from 7:30 to 3 in the afternoon, and then pick up all the tires and on his Hero ka cycle, bring them to the chawl and distribute it to all the families in the neighborhood to do threading. Because of this, we were making extra money. So we were the richest family in the chawl. We were so rich that we had the second black and white TV in the whole area. I know most of you might not have never seen a black and white TV. So we had a company, I don't know if the brand still exists, called Dynora. And the first family which had a TV used to charge people to watch television. 25 paise to stand and watch, 50 paise to sit on the floor, 1 rupee to sit on the sofa. And TV in those days used to be rationed. So हमको एक चित्रहार आता था, I think Thursday को, and then Saturday, Sunday we used to get one half of the movie and the second half. Okay, I come from that era. Since we were the family which decided not to charge anybody to watch TV, of course we became very popular. When the time came for me to go to school, I was supposed to go to a convent school called St. Xavier's in Kanjurmarg, which was an English medium posh school. Unfortunately, I developed something called double pneumonia. And I was again hospitalized, again chances of me surviving were less. I bounced back after a couple of months. So उन दिनों होता था कि यार साल बचाना है. So they said we'll put you in a small school. And of course that school became my school. Whenever anybody would ask me what school do you go to, I would very style say I go to SPSJV. The full form of SPSJV was Sardarni Pratap Singh Janta Vidyalaya. Ab Janta Vidyalaya doesn't sound very cool, so we used to say SPSJV and hope nobody asks us the full form. The school was so small that when I was in the first standard, the school was still the first standard. And when I went to second standard, the school was still second standard. Started by a gentleman called Sardar Tara Singh, who's a BJP corporator now. Awesome guy because he set up a school for poor people. The only challenge is somebody gave him the wrong fashion advice. So our uniform was dark green half pant and light green shirts. Now imagine dark, single pasli, duble patle bachche wearing dark green half pant and light green shirt. कोई लड़की देखना तो मतलब scope ही नहीं था. But it was an awesome school because it was a small school and I was the rock star. I was a rock star because what happened, if I look back on my 45-year-old journey in life, every time something technically bad has happened to me, something really awesome has come out of it. So the first instance I remember is as a young kid, for some reason, I had a fight with all the kids in my neighborhood. And वो खाप पंचायत होती ना हरियाणा वाली वो जाति से बाहर कर देते. So all the kids in the neighborhood decided not to talk to me. So I would come back from school and nobody's talking to me, nobody's playing with me. So करने को कुछ नहीं है. So I started looking around for activities to do. And this is before the era of smartphones and TV was also rationed. So I developed the habit of reading. I started with a Marathi Bible lying at home for some reason. Found it very interesting, read it a couple of times. Then I started wanting more stuff to read. And luckily for me, across the road from my chawl was a Raddiwala. And the Raddiwala had the best of magazines, comics and books in English. So I started with comics, graduated to magazines, then novels. And the result of this, my English became better than the school I was in. It became so good that in an exam, if I didn't know the answer, I would use some heavy English words and the teachers would say, Rahul ne likha hai, theek hi hoga, pass. I would top in every subject. And then maths would happen. The challenge for me with maths was, very early I developed nearsightedness. So I could not see the blackboard very clearly. And I did not have the himmat to tell my parents कि यार clearly दिखता नहीं क्योंकि चश्मे का पैसा नहीं था घर पे. So for many years, nobody except my best friend Ganesh Narayan Shetty knew that मुझे blackboard clearly दिखता नहीं है. So बाकी subjects I would read on my own and prepare. Maths में I would just get passing marks. So second rank आराम से आ जाता था. और कभी कभी गलती से first rank भी आ जाता था. And I was like this typical geeky kid कि second standard में हूँ. छुट्टियों में third standard की पूरी पढ़ाई हो गई है. Third standard I am free, so I would do all extracurricular activities. So school was my place. I was a rock star because I was topping debates, band. I used to play the drums and the flute in the school band. I used to do drama, dance, all of that. And of course, it was a small school. When I came to 10th standard, before this one major incident happened in life. One fine day, my dad left for the factory and then came back immediately saying, lockout. Now, in those days, there was a union leader called Dr. Datta Samant in Mumbai, who in his own wisdom decided to do a strike across. And this strike happened in this factory also. The owners in their own wisdom decided to lock the factory and say lockout. We thought, okay, it will get open sometime. It never opened. So for the next 16, 17 years of our life, my and my younger sister's life was defined by one thing. Every year we would hope that this year the factory will open and अच्छे दिन वापस आएंगे. वो कभी नहीं आए. And my dad would, and the economy of course that time was not so great in India, so my dad would do odd jobs as a lathe man, as an electrician, wherever he would work. So from being the richest family in the chawl, we went straight to the poorest family. And of course, that defined our life for the next few years. School was great for me. Everyday life was a struggle, but it was fun. I came to 10th standard, board exams. Everybody in my chawl was studying for the exams. I was reading Tom Clancy's Hunt for Red October because मेरी पढ़ाई हो चुकी थी. And मेरे chawl में एक बच्चे ने ना पेपर लीक कराए थे. उस टाइम पे होता था, I don't know आजकल होता है कि नहीं. And he said, you want? I said, no. I must start. अपना तो merit list में नाम आएगा. This guy got 63.57%. I got 62.57. I was devastated. Fact remains, when you go to college for your admission, they're not going to ask you how did you get these marks. It's just the mark and that's. I don't know why those words still had an impact on me. When I was supposed to go to 11th standard, in those days, if you were a serious student, you would take science. If you did not have the percentage to get into science, you would take commerce. और जो बाकी का bottom of the pyramid बच्चे होते थे वो आर्ट्स ले लेते थे. Of course, I took science. And with that government quota, I got into a college called SIWS in Vadala. But my mom said, Rahul, you need to work to pay for your college because we can't afford your college education. So with a lot of jugaad and connections, she got me my first job in life. My first job in life was a ward boy in a hospital called Dhanvantri in Mulund in the night shift. And I hated that job because night shift में जाना पड़ता था, floor पूरा sweep करना पड़ता था, पोछा मारना पड़ता था, सुसु potty साफ करना पड़ता था. Horrible, dead end job. I did that for some time, and then my challenge was I would do that job. And then in my break, I would be reading Harold Robbins about private jets and yachts and all. And I wanted that life. And I realized this job is not going to get me there. So after some time, with a lot of himmat, I went to my mom. And mom is a typical Punjabi mom, right? So I said, I don't like this job. I can't survive here. I need a cool job. She said, you're an 11th standard student. Kya cool job milega? I said, I want to be a salesman. Because at that time, I used to watch all these people with nice ties and lovely bags. And they were always hanging around some tapri, chai ki tapri, and they used to always laugh. So I thought, yaar, has rahe matlab inka kaam acha hoga. What I didn't realize, wo बेचारे मतलब boss निकाल देता था कि target पूरा करो, वो सब तो बाद में पता चला. So in those days, these are basically medical representatives. And medical rep, you needed graduation, so I couldn't get that. But then I saw an ad which says, sales executive, no qualification. So I went, applied. Because my English was very good, got selected. The first job that I got as a sales executive was to sell discount cards. This is the year 1989-90. There's a physical discount card called Prestige Discount Card. Plastic card with a booklet which had outlets ka naam where you could go and redeem it. Each card was 525 rupees per year subscription. I thought great job because 1200 rupees salary, एक briefcase भी मिला था थका हुआ सा अभी तो, एक business card मिला which says Rahul Narvekar business executive. तो थोड़ा printing mistake I said Bunziness executive. I said कोई बात नहीं, काट के उसको ठीक किया. I was so proud, business card है, visiting card. I gave it to everybody in the chawl saying, visiting card है मेरा. 4 days I did not have the himmat to make even one sales call. I would start shivering outside offices because most offices in Bombay in those days used to have a computer printout on the door saying dogs and salesmen not allowed. And I love dogs. 4th day, boss ne bajai ke, Sara, you have to make calls. And I still remember there was a building called Loha Bhavan in Marine Lines where I walked into an office and a very polished looking guy sitting there. I said, हाँ बोला, and he's doing some work. I stood like this in front of him. Sir, I'm Rahul Narvekar from President. पूरा script बोल दिया. He looked up, he said, get out. I was so happy. I said, worst case में क्या, get out. अपने को क्या फर्क पड़ता है? ठीक है? Confidence बढ़े. Get out, you will never pick that up. So started doing all calls. And then after a few days, a very kind doctor in Change Public actually sat me down. He said, काय बोलतोय? आरामात बोल, कळत नाही. I said, sir, card है. काय card? So I explained to him. He said, अच्छा एक दे. And I think honestly he took more pity on a shivering, nervous kid than he understood the benefits of the card, but he bought my first card. And that is the first sale I ever made in life, and I've been selling ever since. So did various sales jobs after that. And then I saw an ad which says, India's first business entrepreneurship program launched. So what had happened is the Dawoodi Bohra community had decided to fund a college, and they went to Dr. Nani Palkiwala, who was a renowned economist at that time, and said, what do we do? So Dr. Palkiwala said, guys, set up a school for business entrepreneurship. Now this is the year 1992, when most people had never heard of that term. Okay, I don't think spelling bhi aati thi hum logon ko. And they went to 4 professors. Professor Joe Phillips of IIM Bangalore, Professor Khandwala was director of IIM Ahmedabad, Professor Y.K. Bhushan of Narsee Monchi, and Professor Ghosh of Jamnalal Bajaj. And these 4 people set up this college. 3 years full-time business entrepreneurship, 2 years of regular MBA plus some extra subjects on entrepreneurship. Last year, you stay in the college, you set up your own venture and you walk out. What we call an incubation accelerator today. That time that term did not exist. I saw the ad, and because I was reading a lot, I said, wow, this is made for me. So I applied for it, gave the written test, gave the group discussion, gave the interview, topped all 3. Then went to Dr. Ghosh and said, sir, I don't have money, make a scholarship. So he said, we can give you scholarship for the tuition fee, you're the topper, but this is a compulsory residential program in a hostel in Marol, which is 2,000 rupees a month. That is a private party, we can't give you. So that you have to manage. I said, that I will do a job somewhere in night shift and all that, so kar lenge, koi problem nahi. So I joined the college. This was opposite the Leela Kempinski Hotel in Marol. And what the Dawoodi Bohra community being very cash rich, they just took over a 3-star hotel and said, ye aaj se college hai tumhara. So from a 100 square feet chawl room, I straight away walk into a 3-star hotel room, which is my hostel room. Wall to wall carpeting, central air conditioning, ek wall to glass tha pura. Okay, I said, wow. But I could not get a job because I went to Leela Kempinski saying night shift mein de do, bola nahi milega. 2-3 months I struggled. And those 2-3 months filmy style, I could stay there, but I could not take meals because the meals were outsourced to a private party. And I survived on 1 meal a day, which my classmates would smuggle to me during class. Sham ko khana nahi milta tha. So very filmy style, I used to find of creative ways of किसी के घर चले जाओ, student के या whatever, यार शाम को जाएंगे तो खाना तो खिला ही देगा. Looking back sounds here, but that time it was fun. But then I saw an ad which actually changed my life. So I saw an ad which says, India's first tele-shopping channel launched, wanted customer care executives to work in shifts. What had happened is a gentleman called Ronnie Screwwala of UTV had set up India's first tele-shopping channel called TSN. I saw that, I said, wow. And this was in Sakinaka, which was close to Marul. So I went for the interview. Lots of people, and they were taking group interviews. So this lovely lady called Olga Kamboj walks in and says, how many of you have heard of tele-shopping? So mine was the only hand which went up. I said, okay. I said, is this something to do with QVC? So QVC is the global shopping channel which started this whole curve. She said, okay, come. She takes me inside. And this is a very cool office which I had never seen in my life. Puts me in front of a guy and says, this is the only boy who's heard of QVC. So this distinguished looking guy looks at me. How do you know about QVC? I said, sir, I read about it. Where did you read about it? I said, Fortune magazine. I said, tum Fortune padhta hai? I said, yes, sir. Where do you buy Fortune? I said, sir, the Raddiwala opposite Churchgate station. I said, what do you do? I said, sir, I'm studying business entrepreneurship. He started laughing. He said, entrepreneurship was spelling aata hai? I said, yes, sir, E-N-T-R-E. And then he said something which actually blew my mind. I can still remember that moment. He said, don't call me sir, call me Ronnie. Now, for you guys to understand, in the year 1992, for a business owner to tell a young kid, don't call me sir, call me by my first name, is not done. I was like blown away, fanboy moment. And only later I realized this is the Ronnie Screwwala. And he said, okay, done, you're joined. And I get a job, which was 6:30 to 2:30 in the evening. Ek headset laga ke I have to take calls. 4,200 rupees basic salary, 50 rupees daily allowance, free pickup and free drop from my hostel, which was not unknown, free tea coffee. The best part, out of 100 customer care executives, 85 are young girls. क्या चाहिए लाइफ में उसमें? The coolest job ever I've had. So my life dramatically changed when I'm studying the day, Philip Porter, Peter Drucker, sab kuch, till 4:30. 5:30 a van comes into the colony in Marol from Andheri station where it's full of young girls who call me, Rahul, come, and I look at all my all-male classmates and losers and I stuck to that van, get in, go to my cool office where what do? I sit with a headset and take calls. And this was a most unlike office in India because Ronnie being Ronnie had TV screens where MTV used to play. You could do whatever. Everybody was on a first name basis. We would have a Mandira Vedi walking into our studio in the office to shoot commercials. So teleshopping was basically, we had taken a 2-hour slot on a channel called ATN at that time, where we would broadcast all these videos of products, which people would look and there would be a number, they would call the number, which we would take the call and book an order and ship it to them. Our biggest product was a product called Roti Chef at that time, an electric roti maker. 4:30 to 6:30 slot aata tha. I would join the office at 6:30 till about 8:39. We would get a lot of calls. After 10 o'clock, the calls would drop. 10 to 1:32, I would be just sitting around, reading or whatever. And luckily for me, Ronnie would walk in because it was a new business. He would come and sit with us and say, "What are the customers saying?" And he would chat. But while chatting, he would say, "Rahul, kya sikha? Entrepreneur, kya sikha?" I say, "Oh, today we did the Gillette ka case study on Philip Kotler edition." In those days, if Philip Kotler 6th edition was happening in the US, in India it was Philip Kotler 3rd edition because the Indian economy was on the 3rd edition, right? And I would very proudly tell him that I Gillette ka case study kiya. He said, "Badheda, Gillette ka case study US ka padh ke tu India mein business kahan se karega? Pagal hai kya?" So slowly what started happening is I would go back to college and then fight with my professor saying, "This is not how we'll be an entrepreneur. To be an entrepreneur, I need to have some practical experience because I'm watching a real life entrepreneur called Ronnie Screwwala and he was building a slew of movies. He was building UTV music, UTV movies, United Bristles, television channels, all of that he was setting up in front of me at that time. So as a result of this constant conflict, I got strikes done in my college twice. Despite being the topper of the batch, I was expelled. And one of my professors, Shakil Ahmed Khan, actually gave it to me in writing. The last person to be an entrepreneur. The joke is, 6 months after that, I set up my first venture. I'm the only entrepreneur of the 6-7 batches that passed out of that college. The biggest joke is, Professor Joe Phillips of IIM Bangalore is now reviving that program. They have invited me to be a brand ambassador with one condition that I don't reveal in public that I was expelled from that program. Which of course I don't. But honestly, I think the challenge at that time was we had all these distinguished professors who were directors of the largest B schools of India who were retiring. And they knew of India which was very different from the India we know today. So they thought this is how entrepreneurs are born. They were just following a template. And I had the blessing of studying that in theory in the day and in the evening watching a real life entrepreneur like Ronnie Screwwala build a business. And I was very confused at that time. So at that time I was devastated. When they expelled me, I think I cried for the second time in my entire life. Because my plan B was कि यार अपने पास तो पैसा नहीं है, funding वंडिंग है नहीं, उस टाइम पे एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं है, तो ये सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा तो कहीं अच्छी नौकरी मिलेगी, थोड़े पैसे बचाएंगे, फिर बिजनेस का सोचेंगे. Because the Indian economy in that time was what is called the Dhirubhai Ambani model. That you hustle, you do setting, you work with government, you do whatever to become a business guy. The business thinking was factory, manufacturing, or trading. Not the idea economy that it is today. So when I was expelled, I came back to office and said, now I can work full time. So they said, okay, दिन में भी काम करो और शाम को भी night shift करो, extra पैसा मिलेगा. I said, wow. So an interesting thing happened. I became part of a project where what was happening to us was two things were happening. One is our biggest product was a product called Roti Chef. We were selling a lot of Roti Chefs in black. If you know what the electric roti maker is, right? We would sell it, बिक जाता था, 3 हफ्ते के बाद return आ जाता था. Because we had a policy which said no conditional return. So everybody was really baffled कि इतना बिकते फिर ये वापस क्यों आ रहा है? So let's try and find out why is it coming back. So we created a small study group which started going to all the customers' homes and figuring out why is it coming back. Now if you understand the product, right, electric roti maker. So visualize this situation where this lady has seen the Mandira Vedika TVC with the lovely noodles trap. ठीक है, order कर दो. Order कर लिया, आज शाम को घर में excitement है. Typical 4-member family, mummy, daddy, chunnu, munnu, sitting at the dining table, plug करके mummy is very excited. आज roti chef पे roti बनेगी. So she takes a dough, puts it on the roti chef, thak, about 50 seconds, one roti is done. Takes it, gives it to the papa, head of family. Then she puts the other dough, makes it. By the time she makes the second roti, papa has most probably finished the first roti. And chunnu and munnu are watching कि मेरा number कब आएगा. Unfortunately, this is a product not made for India because that's not how Indians eat. This was very well for people who were an individual society like the United States where one person comes home lonely at night and makes rotis and eats by themselves. Gave me a great insight on consumer research before you launch a product. But the other problem was that we were on a channel called ATN for 2 hours, 4:30 to 6:30. And that is the only time we would get calls. The rest of the day we were not getting calls. And satellite TV was very expensive to buy a slot for 2 hours. So let's look at alternative source of reaching out to customers. And we stumbled upon this medium called cable TV. So in those days, your local cable wala would run a pirated latest movie at 3 in the afternoon and 9 p.m. at night. एक VHS cassette डाल के चलाता था. That had the highest viewership across India. The latest movies, and there were no movie channels at that time. But it was completely fragmented because every locality had a cable operator. It was very cheap to advertise because mostly all the local jewelers and all would advertise there. So we said, wow, this is a great medium. So we formed a team, we mapped all the cable operators across India, started doing beta of our tapes and sending it to them. And we saw a dramatic jump in numbers. Start getting calls throughout the day, our sales went through the roof. And I said, yaar, ye medium to bada powerful hai aur bahut sasta hai. So I met a friend who used to work for Coca-Cola at that time. I said, why doesn't Coca-Cola advertise on this channel? He said, yaar, bahut chik hai. Plus, my auditor will not allow me to pay. I said, why is that? He said, yeah, see, when I run an ad on a Star Plus or any of these channels, there's two agencies called TAM and INTAM, which are monitoring agencies. They monitor this independently and they give us a report saying, हाँ, ये spot 12 बजे बोला था, 12 बजे चला है. So my auditor allows me to pay Star Plus. Cable में there is no monitoring. So my immediate reaction was, ये कोई government agency है क्या? बोला नहीं, these are private companies. I said, yeah, I can set up a company on paper which gives you monitoring. You said, as long as the two companies are not the same company, it's fine. Tubelight jal gate thing, aha moment. I quit my job and set up a cable advertising company. Picked up a small business from Coke on a trial basis. And on paper, I set up a cable monitoring company which says, I will monitor and tell you whether this spot has run or not. It was like a trust business. I was buying spots from the cable operator at like 1,000 rupees and selling it at a couple of lakhs. Started making money in life. But then cable operator की ट्यूबलाइट जल गई, ये साले तू बहुत पैसे कमा रहा है, तो अब तो MG दे. MG is, I am giving you the rights for my channel, minimum guarantee, you pay me X amount, उसके ऊपर का profit तेरा, loss तेरा. So of course the margin came down dramatically, but it was still a decent business, and then a lot of people jumped into it, and the territory started going. So I was doing a Kalyan and Thane territory. Some people picked up Bombay. Decent business. बहुत धक्का खाना पड़ता था, स्कूटर पे घूमते थे, but it was good fun. And then this friend of mine called Milind Kulkarni came back from the US. And Milind is an inventor, but he does not invent anything himself. He looks at an existing technology and says, let's find another application for it. To give you an example, if you are setting up a large lassi shop in Ludhiana and you want to sell 3,000 glasses of lassi in an hour, what do? You want a large mixer, right? So typical engineering brain would be to figure out a large mixer. Milind would say, take a washing machine, अच्छे से धो दे, उसके अंदर बना. That sort of a guy. So Milind had invented something where he had taken a technology called IVRS, Interactive Voice Response System, which is pick up the phone, press 1 for this, 2 for this, 3 for that. That time only Citibank had it in India, nobody else had it in India. He took that as a base and created an interactive TV channel where you could pick up, press and play a song on demand. He says this is called jukebox. So basically on a hard drive there used to be 300 to 500 songs, Impact 4 quality, digital in those days. And you could play these songs and you keep changing the songs. He says that dabba bana hai man, and cable operator la apan vikuya. Okay, because we knew all the cable operators. So while we were chatting, one of us said, why don't we do our own channel? And everybody started laughing because this is the year 97, 98. And we were like little bachas doing some money in life. The conventional thinking was channel means you need 100 crores and you need a satellite because Zee TV, Star TV, these are the channels. But Milind, being the typical geek he was, he said, no, why do you have to go via satellite? If you go via ground distribution, only for Bombay city, you can do a Bombay channel. Kaise? He said, so Bombay in those days was controlled by 42 major cable operators. 90% of Bombay was controlled by them. He said, 42 double lavayache, ek lease line halayachi, and you have a ground distributed Impact 4 quality channel. So to give you perspective, in those days, only CNN was digital, rest all channels were not digital. This was a digital channel. He said, brilliant clarity. He said, yeah, so saste mein ho jayega kaam. So we did some calculation, we realized 40-50 lakhs mein we can start our own channel. We of course did not have 40-50 lakhs. And in those days, there was no ecosystem like this. So there was no Sequoia Capital, there was no incubation accelerator programs. We did not even know who to go and ask. I in fact tried to reach out to my professors in my entrepreneurship class to figure out if they can guide me. Of course, they didn't want to talk to me. But the message I got is there is only SIDB. वहाँ पे collateral देके loan ले लो, which we did not have. So we started meeting a lot of people, what you call in today's term HNI, high net worth individuals, basically rich people. Met a lot of funny people. Finally, we met this guy called Siddharth Doshi. Used to call him Badresh Bhai. Gujarati gentleman living in Santa Cruz. Had the largest corrugated packaging factory. He seemed very interested. He said, हाँ पैसा देगा मैं 55 लाख रुपया देगा. 2 conditions. First condition, कैश में दूंगा, चेक से वापस लूंगा. Okay. We didn't realize ये black का white हो रहा है. ठीक है, अपने को क्या फर्क पड़ता है. But since second most important condition, he says मैंने ना 5 गुजराती गाना बनाया है, वो चलाना पड़ेगा. So Badresh Bhai is a very dear friend of Sachin Pehelwaan, the Marathi actor, and he's a composer. He's no more now. He used to compose songs and all. He said, "Yeah, this is the only way मेरा गाना कभी life में TV पे आएगा." He said, "Sir, done. Every hour चलाएंगे, कोई tension नहीं." So without a business plan, without a PowerPoint presentation, only on the back of saying, "Okay, we'll play your songs and we'll take in cash and return it in check," I raised the first funding round of my life of 55 lakhs from Badresh Bhai. We were 6 partners. The word co-founder did not exist. We took a small office opposite the Shiv Sena Bhavan in Shivaji Park. The office was so small कि अगर 3 लोग बैठे अगर कोई चौथा आदमी आएगा तो 2 लोग चाय पीने नीचे जाएंगे. Said start. So we got the equipment, 42 डब्बे बन गए, testing हो गया. And we said, now let's go to the cable operators and show, demonstrate. So we demonstrated to the cable guys. Said, अरे मस्त बनाया. अब भाई साहब carriage fees दे दो. He said, oh shit. So what we had not factored in at that time is in those days, most TV sets in India used to only have 16 channels on the prime band. And then you had to physically go to the TV and change the band to S band to get on more channels, which most people would never do. So channels were paying a fees called a carriage fees to the cable operator to put it on those 16 prime band channels. ये हमारी ट्यूबलाइट नहीं जली थी. And since we did not have the money to pay carriage fees, of course we could not compete against the Star Z or whatever. We said, अब तो धंधा गया. We had already spent the 55 lakhs, most of it by the way. And we tried our level best to explain to the cable operator कि ये brilliant product. बोले वो सब ठीक है भैया, carriage fees दे दो, ले दो. We actually had visions of singing Gujarati songs for the rest of our life in the corrugated factory of Badresh Bhai. 2 months were horrible. We tried everything. We thought we are dead. Finally somebody said, यार बॉम्बे में नहीं होगा, तुम बॉम्बे के बाद थाने में एक आदमी है, इससे जाके मिलो, ये हेल्प कर देगा. Okay, we were 6 partners. We reached his office. We showed him. He said, "ये सब छोड़ो. तुम लोग का नाम क्या बोला?" So 6 of us, Rahul Narvekar, Milind Amerikar, Milind Kulkarni, Jagdish Narkar. So 5 were Maharashtrian, 1 was a Mallu. He found the idea very hilarious कि मराठी माणसं धंधा करतायत. ऐकलं नाही. And for most of you who are not Maharashtrians, unfortunately Maharashtrians are not known to be big entrepreneurs. Till a few years back. Now, of course, a lot of them have made it. So just the fact that he said, "यार तुम लोग कर रहे हैं, चलो तुम्हारा encourage कर दो." He said, "Done. 3 months trial मेरे cable operation पे कर लो." We said, "Wow." So on I think 14th or 18th of March 1998, Gudi Padwa Day, we said Maharashtrian New Year, we will take it live. Product, what you call a POC today, proof of concept. And we had 5 songs from Lata Mangeshkar, devotional songs. So we said Mogra Fulala, yeah, some nice devotional song we will run, the first song to run on the channel. And obviously उस time पे अपना भी फंडा था कि इसके ऊपर तो किताबें लिखेंगे, movies बनेगी. So you know, I want to be the first guy to play the song, and God will bless our venture and all of that. So सिद्धिविनायक जाके नारियल वारियल फोड़ के हम थाने पहुंच गए. शाम के टाइम पे we put it. So what had happened? Coke gave us a trial ad. So the front screen of Channel Oxygen used to say Channel Oxygen. Amir Khan का image in a yellow T-shirt with a can of Coke. जो चाहे हो जाए, Coca-Cola enjoy, and a local number. That number would flash. So if you pick up the phone and call the number, you would see a drop-down menu which had 10 categories. Marathi song, Hindi song, pop, romantic. You keep clicking and the song would play. And then the next one. That was the idea. And impact 4 quality, digital. So 6 of us with our antique phones waiting कि भैया first song play होना है and I will be the person to pay. And we put it live on the cable and suddenly we saw somebody's got through. And we are saying किसका लगा? And we realized हमारा किसी का नहीं लगा. Somebody who was flipping channel, actual customer, had got through. We said, wow, ये तो good sign that a live customer is playing. And now we are waiting कि भैया कौन सा गाना ये पहला बजाएगा. This is a historic moment for us. The first song which played on Channel Oxygen was Goli Maar Bheje Me from Satya. Actually, Ganpati was sending us a message, we didn't listen to it. We got so excited, and uske baad it caught on. People started playing songs. We were like, "Raat ko party kiya, full low bottle, old monk down, masti." We said, "Wow, you know, apna bachcha is like, you know, it's live." After a few days, this gentleman called up. He said, आई एम कमिंग टू दादर, प्रीतम के ढाबे में मिलते हैं. ओके, he said यार तुम्हारा चैनल तो मस्त चल रहा है, लोग तो केबल ऑफिस में आके पूछता है कुछ कोड है तो बताओ, हमारा गाना बजता नहीं, इतना डिमांड है. वेरी गुड. सर इसको बॉम्बे में क्यों नहीं चलाता है? सर कोई लेता ही नहीं. अच्छा, सो इसको हम दिस सैमसंग का ना फ्लिप फोन, he called up गणेश भाई, the largest cable operator of Malad. He said channel oxygen क्यों नहीं चलाते, अपना चैनल है. And he made 2-3 calls and we were very impressed with the way he spoke because this cable guy would not even allow us to enter his office. It had got so bad. Within minutes this guy is calling saying अरे तुमने पहले क्यों नहीं बताया, मैं गाड़ी भेज रहा हूँ, सिस्टम दे दो. And by evening we were in 4 of the biggest cable properties and our channel is in Bombay. We started celebrating. We said wow, we have cracked Bombay. But now obviously this guy is somebody important, right? How do you ask him कि आप कौन हो भाई साहब? So we said let's go and meet the cable operator, he will tell us. So we go to his office. Suddenly वो दरवाजा खोल के बैठो, अरे भाई चाय ठंडा, समोसा आ गया. He said यार तुम लोग ने पहला बोलना चाहिए था कि नाना का हाथ है तुम्हारे सर पे. So what we didn't realize is the guy we thought is a small cable operator called Mangesh Bhai is Chota Rajan's brother-in-law. Honestly पहले तो फट गई. And we are like holding hands under table के शांत, कुछ मत बोल. He said okay भाई मिलते हैं. We came out, हम हाईवे पे आए, तो गाड़ी साइड पे लगा के बाहर आ गए. अब क्या करेंगे? तो we are going through various scenarios. He said अभी worst case क्या हो सकता है? Worst case ये हो सकता है कि ये भाई बोलेगा कि कंपनी मेरे को दे दो, हम बोलेंगे ले लो भाई साहब. क्या बोल सकता हूँ? But honestly he had no commercial interest in us. He just loved the idea कि मराठी लोग धंधा करते हैं, चलो सपोर्ट कर देते हैं. But what happened for us is suddenly market में word ये चला गया कि यार ये तो भाई लोग का हाथ है इनके सर पे. We started getting a lot of respect. Honestly, मतलब जो लोग साले चल कहते रहो अरे भाई बैठो ना, क्या लोगे भाई. Honestly, we were idiots. We started enjoying that attempt. हाँ ठीक है, मंगेश भाई अपना दोस्त है ये वो. Suddenly we were in all the 42 places in Bombay, and then the media picked it up. So Lok Satta, Lokmat, all these guys they did. Times of India put a half-page article on us saying Asia's first interactive channel launch. My that time favorite magazine was a magazine called A&M, Advertising and Marketing. They did a full-page interview of mine as head of marketing, partner of Channel Oxygen. Also, what had happened is before this, we had not told anybody in our network कि हमारा अपना चैनल है. Because अगर हम किसी को ये बोलते हैं कि भाई साहब मैं चैनल शुरू करने वाला हूँ, तो हंसते पागल है साले 7-12 की लोकल में लटक रहा है, चैनल कहाँ से खोल रहा है? So we said we are working for this channel. But the moment Times of India is saying I am an owner of a channel, obviously people started looking at us differently. मतलब हमारे मल्लू भाई को तो शादी का रिश्ता भी आ गया. So we started enjoying that attention and then we started saying let's start bringing business on it. It took us a long time to get the first ad because most brands didn't understand what does this channel mean because you're not TAM certified, INTAM certified, नहीं होगा. Finally we started going to brands directly. And to cut a long story short, Hindustan Livers, a very kind lady called Farad Punawala from Hindustan Livers, she says, I'm taking pity on you. This is something good. So my spot price was 1500 rupees for a 10 second. She says, I'll give you 5 rupees, but I'm Livers. So she gave us a 5 lakh rupees ka RO, release order. And I saw the power of a brand. We came down from Churchgate and we called up Colgate Palmolive in Powai. We said, we are not certified or whatever, but Livers is the client. And he said, आप RO fax कर दो, check लेके जाओ. Suddenly we had the best of brands advertising on Channel Oxygen. From Livers to Colgate Palmolive, PepsiCo, Coke, started doing 2 crores in revenue. पागल हो गए. लाइफ में इतना पैसा कभी देखा नहीं था. Esteem, 50,000 rupees का system, Honda City, we bought a flat here in Karishma Society. Every weekend we would drive down from Bombay to Pune. There used to be a place, I don't know if it's there, Jangli Maharaj Road पे Havana. We used to come and play pool, bowling in Havana. चटनी सैंडविच खाने के लिए ड्राइव करके आते थे हम मार्जोरिन का. We went nuts and we went into a big 1500 square feet office in Shivaji Park. So V शांताराम की बिल्डिंग थी, उसमें हमने ग्राउंड फ्लोर ले लिया. पहले 4 दिन तो समझ नहीं आया इतने बड़े ऑफिस में करेंगे क्या. 1500 is a lot in Bombay. And we just went nuts. But if I look back, honestly, till the time we were poor and struggling, all 6 partners were like, भाई आधा वड़ा पाव खा के कर लेंगे, टेंशन नहीं है. The moment the money came in and the fame came in, we started getting a lot of advisors around us. यार राहुल भाई आप तो सबसे ज्यादा काम कर रहे हो, मिलिंद भाई क्या करते हैं? तो पूरा दिन कंप्यूटर पे बैठे रहते हैं. मिलिंद would get something say it was your idea, it was your technology. ये लोग तो क्या है, हसलर्स हैं. We started fighting amongst each other. And it was very simple. We would tell मिलिंद तू काय पूर्ण दिवस इकडे सिस्टमवर बसलास. He would say तुमचे मी बिल बघतो, साले मजा मारतात तुम्ही, 5 स्टार मध्ये खाताय, क्लायंट बिल टाकतायत. It became so bad that it came to a point we were almost about to disintegrate as a partnership. And then to again cut a long story short, we decided to scale it up, to take it national as a channel. And the technology at that time was what is called a VSAT. So you send one beam up and it gets split into various beams. So we said, oh, this is doable. So for 22 crores, we could set up a national interactive channel. The technology at that time, and this is I'm talking 1998, where I could give you a pay-per-view. So we already had the technology where you walk into your home and you order like you do on Netflix. You order a certain serial, you order a certain song, and at the end of the month, a credit card kind of a statement would come to you and you pay for whatever you have seen. We had the technology. Unfortunately, we did not have the mentors or people who could guide us on how to take it to the next level. So we went to Delhi to something called WPC, Wireless Planning Commission. I said, we want to do this. They said, you need 22 different NOCs for every split beam. So if I'm taking it in Karve Nagar, I need 22 NOCs from Karve Nagar authorities. So this is like an FM frequency. I said, boss, ये तो हमारे बस का नहीं है. They said, get a godfather who can change legislation at the government level. So we started meeting a lot of senior corporate people. And then we realized that India was not ready for entrepreneurship because we'd go to the biggest names and they would say, ठीक है, कितना करता है revenue? 2 crore ना? 2 crore ले लो, 2-3 crore ले लो, company बेच दो, भाग जाओ. We'd say, हमको बेचना नहीं है. We want to be your partners. And one of them actually looked and said, तुम्हारा औकात है मेरा partner बनने का? And honestly, we were fighting amongst ourselves and we were trying to find somebody who could give us guidance. So again, to cut a long story short, we split as a team. One team went and we sold part of it to Hindujas, which had in-cable. The other part we sold to Rahejas. So what remains of Channel Oxygen today is, in certain cafe coffee days in some parts of India when I travel, I see something called ITV, which Rahej had taken. It's an eye with a revolving logo and a very grainy thing with a drop-down menu. That's all that remains of Channel Oxygen. I still get very upset when I see that because it's almost like my own child which has got a drug problem or dead or whatever. I really get very emotionally tilted. But we went from 0 to 2 crores and back to 0. 2-2.5 साल का था, समझ में नहीं आया कि कितना fast हो गया. But while the company was disintegrating, we were going down the tube, is when I met my wife online. So what had happened is I was a prankster of the 6 partners. I used to play pranks on everybody. To play a prank on me, my partners put up my profile on jeevansathi.com. As a 45-year-old widower with tons of money willing to marry anybody and everybody. And this is 1998, the early era of internet. When if you get 3 emails a day, it is like a बहुत काम हो गया यार आज. 3 email आ गए. So the first email I got from a widow from Nagpur, which says, I'm a vidwa with 3 kids, but I'm very hot. This must be some wrong email address, delete. Next day I got 3 emails saying we saw your profile. So I clicked, I saw my profile, read it, and this is a 3-month paid thing. So everybody in office had a laugh. कि साला तू हमारी बजाता था, आज तेरी बजा दिया. Okay. I went and changed my profile and I made a standard letter saying this ad is a prank by my friends. Although I'm not averse to the idea of getting married, it won't happen for some time. You want to chat? This is my number. Next day, a girl from BPL Mobile across the road, Mahim, sent me a message, let's meet for coffee. So I turned to my partners and said, thank you guys. Dating ka saman de diya tumne. Started meeting some nice young lovely ladies. And then I got a mail from an elderly gentleman saying, my friend daughter, engineer MBA, worth 50 crores, send photo. अच्छा उस टाइम पे अपने को भी लगा अपनी कंपनी भी 1000-2000 करोड़ की बन जाने वाली है. I was also cocky. So I wrote some Hindi, English में some reply to him and I just forgot it. So after a few days I got a mail from this girl from Bangalore which says, hey Rahul, I'm so sorry, this is my dad's friend trying to get me married off. He sent a mass mail to everybody. I am really sorry, I apologize, but hey, I like the way you write. It was very humorous. Can we chat? Mobile number, so I picked up the phone and called up. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the factory right now. Can we chat in the evening? I said, what time should I call? No, I meant chat online. I said, what is an online chat? She said, oh, you go to Yahoo, download the Yahoo Messenger, profile bana lo. I'll come online and we can chat. अपन ऑफिस में गए, बैठ गए, and we had those desktops. तो बैठ के प्रोफाइल बनाया, मस्त शाम के टाइम पे बैठ गए. She came online, I was online, started chatting, just hit it off. 4.5 hours of chatting every day. उसने फोटो भेजी, मैंने फोटो भेजी, decided भाई शादी करना. Cut to Delhi, where my current wife, C. Pallavi Rahul Narvekar, now lives. She was a school teacher turned RJ. She and her best friend made a pact, you find a guy for me, I'll find a guy for you. So Pragati Mehra, her friend, who's an actress. I don't know if you've seen a serial called Uttran. So she's the lead actress there. So Pragati sort of saw my profile, said, तेरे लिए ठीक है, मीडिया का बंदा है, बॉम्बे है. I get a mail saying, I said, boss, अपनी तो शादी फिक्स हो गई है, but तू spec sheet भेज दे, मैं तेरे लिए अपने नेटवर्क में कोई लड़का ढूंढ दूंगा. Okay. This lady lands in Bombay. I meet her at the airport. We meet and within 5 minutes we say, yaar, feel nahi aa rahi hai. You don't get that vibe. So we shook hands and said, shaadi nahi karte yaar. Let's be friends. We're still very good friends. So then I turned around to the 3-4 other prospects, including Pallavi Rao, and said, guys, I'm back in the market. She said, साले तू तो fraud है. अभी तो बोल रहा था बैंगलोर वाले से शादी कर रहा है. मैंने कहा ये नहीं बोल रहा मैं तेरे से कर रहा हूँ. I'm saying I'm available. Just in case you want to check me out. She said, how do I know you're genuine? I said, take a flight, come to Bombay, spend time with me. मेरे पास time नहीं. She actually took the flight. So we met at a Sundar's cafe in Matunga. I said, I don't have time. You take 3-4 days with me and come with me on my sales calls. And we'll get to know each other. So she spent 3-4 days in the Bombay locals, traveling with me. 4th day we had lunch with my dear friend Mangesh, who looked at her and said, तुम इंटरनेट पे मिलाना शादी बनाने का सोचता है कर डालो. Now this is a Delhi girl whose Hindi is very polished, right? आप कैसे हैं and all of that. So she turned to my friend and said, this girl's Hindi is very funny, na? He said, ना वो छोटा राजन का brother-in-law है ना. I said, yeah, his brother-in-law is alleged to be somebody. He's not. He's a director in cable and he's a very good friend. No. Then she broke down. He said, यार बॉम्बे क्या शहर है मुझे समझ नहीं आता. भागते रहते हो पता नहीं क्यों भागते हो, लटकते रहते हो ट्रेन में, प्लेटफॉर्म पे साला मीटिंग करते हो, कोई घर नहीं बुलाता, इतने रूड हो. I said, who's rude? He said, तू तलाक से बात करता. I said, यार बॉम्बे में if I say आप मेरे को उधार मांगना तो मैं बोलूँगा आप कैसे हो. And then she said, नहीं, but why don't you look at Delhi for 1 year and next year we move back to Bombay. It's such a nice शांत place. Now honestly I'm a Bombay boy, born and brought up in Bombay. Bombay, Pune के अलावा मैंने बाहर कहीं रहा नहीं था. I went to Delhi and I saw white streets. I saw a lot of greenery. Till then I had not met any of the Delhi drivers, so I actually thought it's a शांत place. I said, ठीक है, सोचते हैं. Till then my company had completely gone. I was flat broke. So I was in Aurangabad doing something. And I just on a whim, I got a call from an agency, come for an interview. So I took the Sachkhand Express. By the time I reached Delhi station, I had 400 rupees in my pocket. Pallavi came to pick me up. She was a freelancer voiceover person and school teacher. So she had a Maruti 800 जिसमें ना नीचे सड़क दिखती थी because वो floor में holes थे. Took me to Green Park market where the first barista of India was there. So I met and during the interview I realized कि बस पैसे 200 रुपए बचे हैं जेब में. अगर ये इंटरव्यू क्रैक नहीं हुआ तो जिस लड़की से शादी की सोच रहे हो उसे उधार लेके वापस जाना पड़ेगा. I did my best sales pitch to this couple. They said, Rahul, done. We are giving you 25,000 rupees advance. आप ज्वाइन कर लो, सामान आपका बाद में आ जाएगा बॉम्बे. I said 25,000 में क्या होगा? I need a place to stay. This is not like Bombay, पगड़ी वगड़ी सिस्टम नहीं है. 1 month advance दे दो रेंट, आपको 6-7 हजार में घर मिल जाएगा. I said really? So I found a place which was called Arjun Nagar and I found a terrace flat which is called a Barsati in Delhi. 2 rooms, marble flooring, इससे half size का terrace, bathtubs. I said wow, 7,000 rupees 1 month advance rent. मैंने कहा done. He said no, you can't stay here. I said why? It's very close to your house. He said ये posh area नहीं है. So in Delhi, हम Delhiites here? Anybody from Delhi? बच गए तुम. So Delhi is a very class conscious society. I've been living there from 17 years. In Delhi, when people ask you where do you stay, they're not concerned about you. They're slotting you. So if you're in South Delhi, you are somebody. If you're in West Delhi, you're somebody. You're in East North Delhi, you're somebody. The brand of clothes that you wear makes a lot of difference. The Lalaji will come to drop you till the gate and you'll say, oh wow, इतना बड़ा आदमी छोड़ने वाला नहीं सर, वो देख रहा है आप कौन सी गाड़ी में आया हो. That matters. So Pallavi Rao is staying in a colony called Safdarjung Enclave, which is a posh area, 1 lane away. So that is Safdarjung Enclave. This is Arjun Nagar. It's a gaon called Arjun Nagar. Safdarjung Enclave, I'll get a 1-bedroom hall kitchen for 25,000 rupees. Arjun Nagar, I'm getting a bigger place with a terrace for 7,000 rupees. But area posh नहीं है. I said, भाड़ में गया यार, मेरे लिए तो बढ़िया है. So I moved there. Went to the local Sarodi Nagar market, bought 1-2 gaddas, 1 yellow chadar. मैंने कहा दिन में इसमें बैठेंगे, रात को सोएंगे, अपनी गृहस्थी सेट है. And I thought, I am from Bombay, I've done so much sales, I'll crack Delhi like this. It took me 3 months to figure out कि लोग बोल क्या रहे हैं. Because you would go to a sales call and Lala ji would say, Rahul ji, done है sir, done sir. अरे आप तो भाई हो, मठरी खाओ, चाय पियो. Sir, अभी सुन तो लो मैं क्या बेचने आऊँ. अरे छोड़ो. Wow, कितना अच्छा शहर है यार. बेचने से पहले लोग खरीद रहे हैं. It is only after meeting him 55 times I realized that in Delhi NCR and North India nobody will ever say no to you. Everything is done ji. Done sir. You have to figure out between the lines. Dani ji can have various interpretations. I still managed to crack it. I was working for an agency. The agency committed to me, you will be vice president, this salary, this profit sharing. I'll give you a Maruti Esteem. They gave me a Maruti van non-AC. I took it. I got a driver called Mitlesh Sharma because I thought मुझे रास्ते नहीं पता उसको पता होगा, उसको मेरे से भी खराब आना था. And we decided to get married on 22nd of November. We booked a club का lawn. I said lawn में आराम से शादी होगी. Till my brother-in-law came and said tent लगेगा 1.5 लाख का. I said 1.5 लाख का tent क्या होता है? खरीद थोड़ी रहा हूँ. I said Delhi में ठंड होती है. I had never experienced Delhi winters. I bought my first sweater in life in Delhi, by the way. The day of my wedding, my team comes to me, gives me the gift and says, "Sir, मुबारक हो. By the way, आपकी नौकरी चली गई." I said, "अजय अभी मेरे को गिफ्ट देके गया. Ajay is the owner of the agency." He said, "हाँ सर, वो आपको नहीं बता सकते, खुद से इसलिए हमको बोला आपको बताने के लिए." That is again a very Delhi trait. I said, "Okay." So I lost my job on the day of my wedding. I could never go for my honeymoon, and since this is the only marriage I've ever had, I've never been on a honeymoon. I said, "Okay." I didn't tell Pallavi for a few days because she had quit her job as teaching. She was a freelancer, so she was not making money. I was not making money. I said, "इसको बोलूँगा साला शादी के दिन ही नौकरी चलेगी, बोलेगी साला तेरे से शादी करते वाट लग गई." Few days I would put on my शादी का सूट and I told my driver मिथिलेश, I said, "मिथिलेश आप चले जाओ, आपकी जो भी बैलेंस सैलरी मैं बाद में दे दूंगा, मेरे पास नौकरी नहीं है." He said, "सर आप एजुकेटेड आदमी, आपको आज नहीं तो कल नौकरी मिलेगा." He worked without pay for 3 months and he's still with me, of course. And Pallavi now genuinely believes I take more emotional attachment from Mithilesh Sharma than I take from her. But then I have a reason. I started applying, going to various cyber cafes and applying for jobs. And I saw an ad which I thought was PVR head of marketing. Turned out to be a company called Ansal Plaza, which was a mall, first mall of India. They said senior manager, 25,000 rupees salary. I said, "Sir, this is too low for me." They said, "नहीं राहुल जी, इतने young age में हम DP शिपी नहीं बनाते, we are old. आप सोच लो." Without an option, I said, "चलो, how bad can it be? It's a sexy mall." So I took up the job. After I took the job, I realized Ansal Plaza nahi, I have been given a place called District Center Janakpuri, which is 22 kilometers away and is supposed to be a Kalapani. So District Center Janakpuri, if you understand, Bombay is like आपको Churchgate दिखा के विरार दे दिया. They had a PPP, public private partnership with DDA, the local agency. It was a complex of some 22 buildings, commercial buildings, which was dead. There was no tenants there. Nobody wanted to go into the complex because of खंडर था. So my job was to build an amphitheater, physically construct an amphitheater in the property, do events and promotions there with no budget, make it a happening place, and then bring retailers to come and open stores there. This job nobody wanted, so I got sucked into it. Without an option, I took it, landed up. Took me 4-5 months to figure out how to get an amphitheater built there. Built the amphitheater, which I'd never done in life before. And then, of course, I started doing events and promotions there. But while that was happening, Pallavi luckily got a job with Radio Mirchi as an RJ in the evening drive time show. And Mirchi was supposed to go live in 3 months' time. So we had one car which we were sharing. So I would go to pick and drop her in the evening. So in the evening, I had gone to Ansal Plaza for a meeting where my boss Pranav Ansal, who owned Ansal Plaza, was telling everybody that मॉल में ना म्यूजिक होना चाहिए, सो स्पीकर्स लगने चाहिए, इसका खर्चा 5 लाख रुपए, इसके लिए कोई स्पॉन्सर ढूंढ लो. सो एवरीबडी सेड, सर स्पॉन्सर तो ऐसे स्पीकर के लिए मिलेगा नहीं. हियरिंग दैट कन्वर्सेशन, after the meeting I went to pick up Pallavi and she said, "I'll just pick up my bag. By the way, this is Shamik, my sales head." So I see this guy who's smoking. "Hi, what do you do?" अब मेरा SPSJV मूवमेंट आ गया. मैं इसको बोलूँ जनकपुरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेंटर तो साला LS. I said, "Oh, I work for Ansal Plaza, you know." I said, "Oh, interesting. We should do something there." Now, this is the moment, honestly, I believe, where Ganpati comes and whispers something in my ear. No idea, no connection. I suddenly told him, "हाँ, by the way, आज Radio City वाले आए थे हमारे ऑफिस." He threw his cigarette. He said, "चल." He took me inside, put me in front of Nandan Srinath, the station head. He said, "This is Pallo's husband. I think Radio City is going to launch in Ansal Plaza." I said, "Rahul, really?" I said, "I don't know, आज आए थे." He said, "That cannot happen. Deal हो गई?" I said, "नहीं, अभी बात चल रही है." He said, "Can you swing it for us?" I said, "I think 3, I'm a junior person." He said, "क्या deal है?" Honestly, कोई डील थी नहीं. I said, "वो कुछ ना स्पीकर की बात." They said, "Airplay rights." I said, "Yeah. I had no clue what is airplay rights." They started talking to each other and I kept nodding my head. I said, "Rahul, डील कैसे हो गया?" मैं अपने माइंड में सोच रहा हूँ कि रेडियो मिर्ची अगर 1 लाख रुपया दे देता है तो भी 4 लाख बचते हैं, तो मैं 2-4 ब्रांड को लाके, आई एम थिंकिंग इट्स नॉट क्लियर इन माय हेड, द पाथ इज नॉट क्लियर. इसे पैसे बता. ऐसे अच्छा ये लोग मेरा ऐड चलाएंगे रेडियो मिर्ची पे, इसके लिए पैसे मांग रहे, बट पैसे तो मेरे पास है नहीं. सर कितने पैसे लेगा? ऐसे ओके, ये पैसे देंगे. अब आई हैव नो क्लू देंगे किस लिए और कितने देंगे. इसे कितने पैसे लेगा भाई? अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ 10,000 रुपया बहुत कम हो जाएगा, 5 लाख रुपया बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा. गलती से अगेन आई थिंक दिस इज गणपति सिटिंग देयर, मेरे मुंह से निकल गया 1 करोड़. एंड देन आई सेड शिट. इट्स लाइक नहीं यार बहुत ज्यादा है. 1 करोड़ से 1 लाख पे कैसे आऊं? सर 70-75 में कर दे. Okay. So I have to talk to my boss. So I came out, I called Pranav Ansal. This is at 9:30 at night. I said, "Sir, I'm at Radio Mirchi office. This is happening." He was furious. He said, I told you I don't want to spend 5 lakhs, you're saying 70-75 lakhs. I said, sir, kharchne nahi hai, milenge. He said, kis liye? I said, that I don't know. He said, go and find out. And honestly, this is the time when management education helps you. So I go back in and I said, guys, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you email me all the details and I'll chat with my boss. Because email pe mujhe pata chalega kya deal hai. So honestly, the deal was, what they wanted was, they would put up the sound system and they would play Radio Mirchi exclusively in the mall throughout the day for 1 year. And because no other channel would play exclusivity, they are willing to pay 70-75 lakhs. ऐसी deal कभी life में पहले हुई नहीं थी. They mailed me, I showed it to my boss. He explained to me, नहीं समझ आया. Explained again. क्यों दे रहे पैसे? I said, sir, airplay. I said, हाँ, speaker होगा तो music बजेगा. सिर्फ मिर्ची बनने के पैसे मिलेंगे. He sat down. He said, basically, तूने हवा बेच के 70 लाख रुपए कमाए. I said, yes. He said, you are transferred to Ansal Plaza. I said, sir, मेरा designation देख लो. I said, क्या चाहिए? So I got the fastest promotion in Ansal history. I went from senior manager straight to vice president marketing. When I went to HR said, sir, you are VP marketing, bracket mein NR. I said, what is NR? They said, NTR. I said, what is NTR? They said, non-traditional revenue. I said, what does that mean? I said, राहुल जी ऐसा है, अंसल प्लाजा में अभी जहाँ से रेवेन्यू आ रहा है ना, उसको मत छेड़ो. आप बैठो और नए-नए आइडियाज सोचो और पैसा कमाओ. I said, okay मैम. तो टारगेट क्या डालूं आपका? 3 करोड़ डाल दो. मैंने सोचा यार अभी 70 लाख की डील करी. He said, राहुल जी मैं डाल तो दूंगी, but you do realize that the whole of Ansal Plaza in 1 year makes only 1 crore. I said, नहीं 1.5 कर दो. He said, नहीं क्या मतलब? Honestly, at that time I had no clue how a mall marketing happens. But I was very blessed because I had come from Bombay, from a media background. My wife was working and doing an evening shift, 5 to 9 p.m. So I was free till 10 o'clock at night. Most Delhiites at that time wanted to go home at 6 o'clock. I was more than happy to hang out in the mall on a weekend, which is what you needed in a mall kind of thing. It was a new industry. So I started sitting in the mall, calling my friends in Bombay, and they were, most of the media at that time was in Bombay. So they would come to Delhi, they would see my name, Narvekar, Bombay se, हाँ, सर ये दिल्ली वाले से बचा लो यार, डने जी करते काम कुछ करते नहीं, आप कर दो. So I started putting branding on lift doors. We were the first people to put branding on lift doors. I started getting movie crews to come and shoot in the mall and pay us money. I went to my favorite brand, Coca-Cola, and they were launching a brand called Georgia Coffee. I said, we have 27 commercial buildings as a real estate company. I said, I'll get you to do sampling for all these people in the year, pay me 1 crore. They paid me 1 crore to distribute free coffee. My boss was dancing, साले coffee भी पिला रहे, 1 crore भी दे रहे. और सोच, I had the best time of my life because I was vice president of the coolest mall of India. We were doing massive events. My wife was the celebrated radio jockey of Delhi called Pallavi Rao. I started doing extra consulting assignments which my boss allowed me. Started making a lot of money in life. Bought my first house in South Delhi. Bought a large Chevrolet Optra red color 1000 number which my driver made me buy because this is Delhi. We were the pastry it couple of Delhi because we were partying almost every night. Life was very rocking, and then my son was born. And immediately after Rian was born, a few days later, Pallavi's left eyelid started drooping and she started lisping. So we thought some reaction. Went to the hospital, they said this is myasthenia gravis, it's an autoimmune disorder. The most famous patient is of course Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, so what do we do next? He said we'll just do a small operation and remove a part called the thymus from here. Okay, so they removed the thymus. While doing the surgery, one vocal cord got cut, the other got paralyzed. So head of ENT Apollo comes and says, Pallavi's voice is gone. It's never going to come back ever. Okay. And my wife in a very filmy style asked for a pen and paper and said, I will go back on air one day types. And honestly, nobody believed it at that time. I quit my job to be with her because my son was very small. But a funny thing happened. Before this incident, we had like hundreds of friends all over Delhi. We would walk into a party and everybody's happy walo, ye, wo. We were a very social couple. The moment I quit my job to be with her, and Pallavi's news went into market ke RJ Pallavi is no longer RJ. Cancer ho gaya. 99.99% of the people just vanished. People stopped taking calls, no invitation for any events. Media to bhuli jao. And suddenly this kya ho gaya? What we didn't realize from being Rahul, Ansal Plaza and Pallavi Radio Mirchi, we had just become Rahul and Pallavi. And these people were friends of the chairs we were sitting on, not our friends. Initially was very, very disconcerting, but ठीक है, got over it. Fortunately for me, my wife started doing pranayama and yoga at home. And 2.5 years after this, she made a comeback. She got the voice back, not the original voice. Radio Mirchi went completely nuts. They spent 3.5 crores on an outdoor campaign saying Pallavi's back. And Kars Kashi music saying reincarnation of a radio jockey, this, that. The funny thing is, the moment all those hoardings went up, the largest hoarding, by the way, was on Ansal Plaza. All those people just came back. Phone आता है, sir, आप तो भूल गए. भाई साहब, आप ही मेरा phone नहीं लो. अरे छड्डो, शाम को पार्टी है, भाभी को लेके आना. And of course, the entire network was back. After that, I kept working for various small companies. My last job was at a company called DLF. Was horribly bored there. 2009, I met a guy who had come from Europe who wanted to do e-commerce in India. And we chatted and he said, this is the opportunity. Shook hands with him. We set up a company called fashionandyou.com. When I quit my job to start Fashion and You in 2009, मार्केट में खबर ये थी कि मेरे को DLF ने नौकरी से निकाल दिया है. मेरे पास और कोई नौकरी नहीं है, इसलिए घर पे बैठ के इंटरनेट पे कपड़े बेच रहा हूँ. And Pallavi got a lot of सहानुभूति saying, इंटरनेट पे कपड़े कौन खरीदता है? Anyway, 7 of us started Fashion and You when e-commerce was not known. 15th of Jan 2010 we went live. Everybody was very skeptical. January 15 days we did 7.5 lakhs turnover. February we did, thanks to Valentine's Day, we did 27 lakhs. March we did 65 lakhs. April we did 1.2 crore. And that was pretty much our curve. So October 2010, Sequoia Capital came and invested $8 million. I think our valuation is 170 crores. Then we raised $40 million from Sequoia, Nokia, MVP, Intel. I think our valuation was 1700 crores. Till then, we were the fastest growing e-commerce company in India. We had raised money much before Flipkart. And then we completely fucked it up because instead of focusing on one company, which was Fashion and You, we went and set up 14 different e-commerce companies. We set up a Groupon clone called Deals and You. We set up Free Culture, Be Style Day, Juwalia and You. We went from 7 people to about 3,000 people campus. We, as a group, raised $128 million. Unfortunately, in the middle of all this, Pallavi had a relapse of myasthenia. She had 5 tumors behind the lungs. So I again exited. We were back in Apollo for 1.5 years, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy. By the time I came back, the world had changed. Lack of time, so I'm just going to cut this short. Afterwards, in 2013, I set up something called indianroots.com with NDTV, which was selling Indian apparel to Indians outside India. Our focus was not the India market. The day I was supposed to get the money, 4 days before that, this was supposed to be set up with an investment of 18 crores. Plan done, presented, everything done. The investor died. We could not find another investor. NDTV didn't have the money. So 30th of the month, I get a call from my group CFO saying, "ये Excel sheet क्या है?" I said, "This is salaries for the team." He said, "हाँ कौन देगा?" I said, "जब तक investor नहीं आएगा, आप तो हमारे पास तो है नहीं." I actually sat down with a cup of black coffee and said, "Oh shit." Started calling up people in my network and reached out to a friend of mine from Pune called Nilesh Rathi. He was my batchmate in IIM Calcutta. And I said, "Next 1 hour, I want 35 lakhs in this account and I want you to invest 10 crores." He said, "I can't invest 10 crores. My family won't allow me to work with NDTV." I said, "Whatever you can, abhi pehle 35 lakh transfer kar." He transferred the money without any documentation, just on a phone call. Ultimately, we could only raise 84 lakhs. So an 18 crore plan became 84 lakhs. In hindsight, the best thing that would have happened to us, because we completely threw away the rule book of how to do e-commerce. We became very frugal. The joke was nobody in my team knew for 6 months that we don't have money, because I could not tell them bhag jate. In 2.5 years, that company became an $85 million business. For me, the grace was, while we were an $85 million business, the whole of NDTV group was only $90 million. So that is my, if you Google me today, that's my claim to fame, that 84 lakhs have become 85 million. 2.5 years of a ride. We almost died a couple of times. 3 times we had to take a 40% salary cut across the board. The people I thought would stay with me in that time left. The people I thought would run stayed. So lots of lessons learned. When I exited last year from Indian Roots, I set up a fund called Scale Ventures, which is based out of here in Pune. We are a small SEBI-registered 100 crore fund. We invest between 25 lakhs to 3.5 crores. I'm building a community called India Network, specially focused on entrepreneurs from Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 cities. September, we took a bunch of 20 entrepreneurs from small town India, selected them from a contest, and we took them to New York City for a boot camp called Survive and Thrive, where they got mentored by people like Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank. This year, in February or March, we will take another bunch of startups to Japan to meet funds, entrepreneurs, get ecosystem, whatever. I will send the details to these guys. If you guys are interested, you should apply for that. I'm also part of a company called Sun & Sands Enterprises, which is based out of Japan. In Sun & Sands, we have a fund called Ring AI, which is a $1 billion fund, which invests in startups focused on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT, AI, ML, IoT. maybe also blockchain and fintech. We also created a small $200 million fund called India-Japan Partnership Fund, which is for strategic partnerships in startups looking at Japan and India. In India Network, I am genuinely trying to build a Shiv Sena for startups in all the positive sense of the word, where I want to set up co-working spaces on the ground. I want to work with young entrepreneurs, because if I look back on my own journey, and if I look at the entrepreneurs today, you guys are truly blessed to live in an economy where you don't need money, you don't need an Excel sheet, you don't need a degree to become an entrepreneur. All you need is, it's a Hindi word, it's called Jazba. If you have Jazba, everything else is available in today's market. So, two things I'll leave you with. One is, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. And I'm a living embodiment of that. And my wife is more so, because she's had 7 surgeries. She's gone through multiple, but she's still a fighter. 2 is, you are the sum total of the 5-7 people you spend maximum time with. So be very ruthless. Be very serious about cutting out people who are toxic, who are negative, who will always pull you down कि नहीं हो पाएगा भाई, तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. काट दो ऐसे लोगों को अपनी लाइफ से. Actively seek out, reach out, and everybody is available on social media. The biggest names are available on social media. It takes nothing to send a friend request. Worst case में बोलेगा get out. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? But take that initiative. I was sitting with a startup today morning, and if I look at most of the rock stars in today's ecosystem, they are where they are because of a decision where they took. They said, "करके पछताना is better rather than नहीं करके पछताना." I keep meeting so many smart, intelligent, brilliant people who said, "अरे मैं भी ये कर सकता था, but वो but में रह जाओ." So wherever you get an opportunity to reach out to somebody, ask for help, ask for advice, be completely besharam. If you are besharam, and if you are surrounded by great people around you, in times to come, you will be standing here and delivering a session. That's all I have to say. Thank you.